In The Pedestrian, we can see how Bradbury's exploration of certain themes reflects aspects of the world as it was when he wrote the story. The themes we'll be looking at are media and technology, nature and urbanisation, and individuality and conformity. So, let's get started. Born in 1920, Ray Bradbury grew up with a great love for horror films, which explains the creepiness of his stories. He would often use these disturbing perspectives on society as a way to criticise what society was becoming. Bradbury wrote in the 1950s, which was the decade immediately after World War II. He often commented on the power of governments and authorities to smother the individual. Hey team, just a reminder, if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. It really helps the channel out, and our next upload could be on something taught in your next class. Thanks, and back to the video. The Pedestrian was inspired by a real incident Bradbury experienced. One day, in 1949, Bradbury and a friend were walking down Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. Suddenly, a police cruiser pulled up and asked what they were doing. They were just on a walk. But the police were very suspicious of why they would walk in a place with no pedestrians. Unfortunately, post-World War II America had evolved into a highly suspicious society. Citizens were encouraged to inform on each other if they suspected any un-American beliefs or activities. Even literature was controlled and censored to filter out any unwanted thinking patterns. With the advent of television in the 1950s, the US government had a powerful new brainwashing tool at their disposal, hence Bradbury's exploration of the dangers of media and technology. In 1950, the year before Bradbury published this story, only 9% of American households had a TV. But by 1959, less than a decade later, over 85% of households had them. People couldn't wait to get home, switch on the TV, and turn off their brains. This is why Bradbury paints a bleak snapshot of TV addiction in The Pedestrian. Apart from his protagonist, or main character, Leonard Mead, the city's entire population are glued to their TVs. It's like a soft form of imprisonment. Check out how Leonard speaks to his neighbours. Hello in there. What's up tonight on Channel 4, Channel 7, Channel 9? The variety of enticing programs sucks people in. And of course, no one actually answers Leonard. He's alone on the street. Does anyone other than Leonard remember what the night air feels like? Or what grass smells like? Unlikely. Which is why Bradbury emphasises the contrast between nature and urbanisation in The Pedestrian. Due to the expansion of US industries in the late 1800s, big cities like New York grew rapidly. By the 1950s, over half of the US population lived in urban areas. As more people flock to cities and towns, there should be more social connection, right? Bradbury laments that this isn't the case at all. Instead, people tend to shut themselves up in their houses. He depicts this in the way Leonard observes the cottages and homes with their dark windows, and it was not unequal to walking through a graveyard. Yet, as people retreat into their homes, nature begins to creep back in. Seeing as so few people physically walk the streets anymore, flowers and grass reclaim the sidewalks. Leonard nearly trips on it. The story reaches its crescendo as Leonard is hassled by law enforcement, a lot like the way Bradbury was that day in 1949. Through Leonard's distress, Bradbury expresses the way people in his time weren't free to be themselves. It was safer to conform to conservative culture and not ask questions. Hence Bradbury's exploration of individuality and conformity in The Pedestrian. There are a few problems with Leonard. according to society? The first thing is that he's a writer by trade. That's a red flag because magazines and books didn't sell anymore. If people prefer to watch television, what would he write? And who reads it? The next problem is that he's just walking. Nobody does that anymore either. The final nails in the coffin are the fact that he's unmarried and doesn't own a TV. Oh no, a single, free-thinking individual. Leonard Mead is dangerous. What if his clever mind seeded subversive ideas that made other people question the status quo? This echoes the way that many writers and artists were targeted during the McCarthy era. That's right, 1950s America is synonymous with Republican Senator Joseph McCarthy. Using television as a key platform, McCarthy fueled mass hysteria about communist infiltration during the Cold War. It got to the point where anyone who seemed a bit different or subversive could be investigated as a communist sympathiser or even a Russian spy. Prominent artists like Lucille Ball, Charlie Chaplin, Arthur Miller, and Orson Welles were all publicly examined for their un-American beliefs. It was a dark time for intellectuals and creative people, and Bradbury was furious about it. Leonard Mead is the type of person who would have been on Senator McCarthy's radar, which is why he gets bundled off to the Psychiatric Centre for Research for Regressive Tendencies. He needs to be reprogrammed. It may seem like Bradbury's exaggerating here, but that's how it felt to be a nonconformist in the McCarthy era. Being yourself was risky business. Safe to say, Bradbury paints a disturbing picture in The Pedestrian. And if we're honest, it's not that far-fetched. Sure, we might not be chained to our TVs, but most of us can't go for long without checking the little screens in our pockets. Critics of Bradbury might say his nightmarish visions of the future went too far. But maybe they didn't go far enough. We hope you enjoyed this Schooling Online production. For more easy lessons, check out our other videos.